This is going to be a guide on how to colorize black and white imagery in Photoshop CC. If you want to follow along with the same image I'm using, you can click in the description below. There'll be a link to download the image. You can either do this with one black and white image on its own, or you can do it with a black and white image and a source image to get the colors from. You don't need this, however, but if you want to follow along with me, you can download both the images below. So to get started, what we want to do is be on our black and white image. We want to right click on our background layer and we want to click duplicate layer so that we're not working on our background layer. Next, we want to find the first color we want to add into the image. The first one I'm going to try is the hair. So I'm going to go to my source image and I'm going to pick a color. To do this, on the left hand side where we have our foreground and background colors, we can double click on the foreground color to bring up our color picker. Our cursor then becomes an eyedropper tool. We can then use this eyedropper tool to click a color and it will then match that color. And you can see there's lots of different shades of color within her hair. Best to try and pick something of a mid-tone. So not a really bright area, not a really dark area, something in the middle. And you can change this whenever you want. So you can come back to this and try again if you've not quite got the color that you want. I'm going to pick something around about here and then I'm going to click OK. And you can see that our foreground color has now changed over on the left hand side here. We're going to go back to our black and white image and then on the layers panel towards the bottom, we're going to click create new fill or adjustment layer. And then we're going to choose solid color. You can just click OK at this stage on the color picker. What we then want to do is click on our layer mask. If you want to learn how to use layer masks properly, I have a whole video dedicated to that. Click on the link coming up on the screen now. So what we want to do with the layer mask here is press Control-I on the keyboard, Command-I if you're on a Mac. That's going to invert our mask so that the color is hidden. What we then need to do is get a normal brush and make the color white on the foreground color. You can right click on the image at any point to bring up the size and hardness picker. What we want to do is zoom in to the area we want to color. So I'm going to make my brush a little bit bigger. Try and match your brush size roughly to the area you're trying to paint. Something like this is absolutely fine. You would need to make it smaller occasionally to go into the finer detailed areas. If I just start painting, what you'll notice is that the solid color just starts coming back through the layer mask. So what we want to do is change our blending mode, and that's over here, just on our layers panel. We want to change normal to soft light, and that will allow that effect to be blended into the black and white image. We can then continue to paint, and this will allow us to be much more accurate. Okay, and there we are. Now, if you feel like you've made a mistake or you feel like you've gone over the edges on a certain area, then what we can do really easily is switch the brush back to black to almost act as an eraser. And that will allow us to bring back the layer mask and block some of that effect. So a quick, easy way of switching between black and white is just by pressing X on the keyboard, and that will toggle between black and white, which is a really handy, quick tip. So next, I'm just going to repeat the procedure. I'm going to go back to my original image. I'm going to choose another color by double-clicking on the color picker, choosing the color that I want, pressing OK, going back to my black and white image, adding a new fill or adjustment layer, a solid color, going to the layer mask, making sure that's selected, pressing Control-I to invert it to black, and then using my brush to colour in the area that we want to colour. And there we go. I'm now going to repeat that procedure for the other colours. And there we have the finished picture. So at this stage, if you'd like to adjust certain things, including the colour, all you need to do is double click on the actual colour itself. It'll bring back up the colour picker, and then you can adjust from there as many times as you'd like to get it absolutely right. Then you can click OK. You can also go back into the mask and adjust anything you'd like from there. You can also adjust the opacity of the colour over here. So at the moment all of mine are on 100%. So to give you an example, on the lips, if we select the layer mask and then change the opacity, you can see the effect gets gradually less noticeable. So you might want to just bring the opacity down just slightly, just so things aren't quite so vibrant. And there we have it, a finished colorized image.